The following presentation was recorded live by JHAH.
The 4 things every Jew should know. You're going to remember this because of the acronym JHAH. If you remember the acronym JHAH, you will always remember what I'm about to tell you, and you'll be able to share it with other people. That means J stands for something, A stands for something, K and P, JHAH. J. J stands for judgment. A question is asked in the Talmud, a scenario is painted. It says, if A comes to B and says to B, if you don't kill C, I'm going to kill you. The question asked is B allowed to kill C in self-defense? Let me repeat. A says to B, comes to B and says, I'm going to kill you unless you kill C. Can B kill C in self-defense? The answer really is no. But let's paint it a different way. Imagine B is a tremendously righteous person, the greatest rabbi in the world, and C, a bum, a derelict, a drunk in the gutter. And A, some crazy person, comes up to this great rabbi and says, I'm going to kill you unless you kill that drunken bum. And he's the greatest rabbi of the generation. Can he kill the bum? Because if he doesn't kill him, he's going to be killed. Self-defense. The answer is no. Let's paint it a different way. Imagine that B is a cancer scientist. A cancer scientist. He's on his way to a press conference to announce the cure for cancer. He's going to save millions of people. And on his way, some crazy person comes up to him and says, if you don't kill, puts a gun to his head and says, if you don't kill that bum in the street, I'm going to kill you. Can the cancer scientist kill the bum in the street? First of all, it's self-defense, and also he's going to, this bum, this guy who probably is just gasping his last breath anyway, compared to saving, I'm on my way to the press conference to save millions of people to announce the cure for cancer. Can he kill the bum? Can B kill C? And the answer is no. Why? The Talmud says, because you don't know whose blood is redder in the eyes of God. You don't know who has more self-worth, whose life has more worth in the eyes of God. On the surface, we think, oh, of course, the rabbi, the bum, right? The rabbi is more worth. On the surface, we see the cancer scientist, the bum, of course, the cancer scientist. The Talmud says, you don't know. We meet people in chapter 3. We didn't read the introduction. We never read chapter 1 and 2. We meet people at a certain point in their life in chapter 3. We don't know what's going to be in chapter 4 and 5. And yet we're so quick to judge a person in chapter 3. So quick. They had a whole life before you met them. They had parents. They had challenges. You don't know what challenges they might have had. That cancer scientist who you think, oh, what a righteous person. This is the most amazing person. Maybe they had the ability to discover the cure for cancer 20 years ago. But they were just, riding on their, the bursaries and the funding, and they were just not in such a hurry. And maybe they didn't realize their potential. And it could be the bum in the street was born into a mafia family and really was supposed to be trained to be a hitman. And he chose to leave that life, to leave it all behind. He didn't want to be a killer. And in the end, he couldn't make a living, and this is where he ended up. But he made a choice. It was a moral choice. Sounds wild? Could it be? You don't know. You really don't know. J for judgment means you can't judge another person. Only God can judge. You can't judge another person. It says in Pirkei Avot, in Ethics of Our Fathers, it says that you can't judge a person until you've come to their way, until you really walked in their shoes, until you've come to their way. You don't, and since a person can never live the exact same life as another person, you can never judge another person. Only God knows where you came from, where you're at, and where you're going. Only God knows how you handled the challenges along the way. When He gave you poverty as a challenge, when He gave you wealth as a challenge, when He gave you sickness as a challenge, how did you react to it? Only He knows. And He knows the circumstances. He also knows if you're really realizing your potential. Compared to most people, you are probably a very nice person. You are probably above average of niceness. Probably a little bit more giving than most people, a little bit deeper than most people, a little bit more thoughtful than most people. And what happens is we compare ourselves to other people. And you know what? God doesn't. He does not compare you to other people. He compares you to you. And sometimes we have to be honest, and we have to look in the mirror, and we have to say, hey, am I really realizing my potential? Am I really making the most of who I am? Not just, I'm a little bit better than everybody around me. Judgment has a bad rap. I'm telling you, you can't judge another person. Listen, you can judge actions. If a person's making a mistake, you can say, this is a mistake. But you can't say that's a bad person because they're making that mistake. People make mistakes. Only God can judge. But as my husband always says, don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out. There are evil, bad people in the world. Chances are it's not your sister-in-law. Chances are it's somebody who is the head of some country that is trying to destroy the world or destroy the Jewish people. Those people you can judge. But 99.999% of the people you know, you can't. You can say that person's making a mistake. But God can judge us, and He does. And you know what? We want His judgment. You think you don't. You think, like, I don't want God to judge me. Doesn't sound like a very nice thing. Judgment has a bad rap. It's got a bad name. But you know what? You want God's judgment. You want His judgment. The fact that God judges you means that your judgments count. That what you do matters.